Hello, everybody, and welcome to Gold Rush Football Podcast on Gold Rush Football TV. My name is Olanrewaju Abodunrin, and I still remain your favorite podcaster. Thanks for the support, and thanks for sharing, and thanks for the comments on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. And don't be selfish when you listen to this podcast. Share with friends and share with your soccer lovers. Today I have Sammy on the podcast. You know Sammy on this podcast is a Chelsea fan, so he's back and back and back. And as a Chelsea fan, he's eager to pour everything right here on this podcast. Sammy, how far are you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. You know, it's good to be back. Good to see you again.
Yeah.
It's a new season. I'm positive. I'm filled with the positivity. So let's go. Let's go.
All right. I have someone making his debut on this podcast, and of course, you'll be seeing him on this podcast regularly. He's here to stay. He's a Chelsea fan as well. Apologies for bringing two Chelsea fans to this podcast for this episode.
No, there's no reason to be
Ladies
sorry.
and gentlemen,
no reason to be
I
sorry.
welcome to you, Moses. Moses, how you doing now?
Papa, thanks for having me, man. I'm so glad to be here.
Right.
It's been a long time that I wanted to be on the podcast, and I'm glad I'm here today.
Glad you're here. Anyways, guys, Chelsea is flying right now. You know,
Yeah.
it's all about the Blues, and then the season the last season is different from what's happening. I mean, we see some good signs, but we're not here to talk about Chelsea right now. We'll be starting from one place, and we'll be talking about the biggest club competition in Europe, and that's the UEFA Champions League. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my fellow co-host, the UEFA Champions League is back. How you guys feeling?
So many questions to ask because we are moving from the traditional group teams. You play 3 teams home and away.
Right.
Now it's different. Now your strength is being tested against the whole team.
Right.
So we'll go more into it.
Yeah, we'll go
as
more
time
into
going.
it. Anyways, before I bring Sammy into this, the UEFA Champions League is, as you all know, and it's causing a lot of, it's been causing a lot of confusion and so a lot of questions from football lovers all around the world. It's a new format. It's called the Swiss League format. So it's going to be a 32 teams, 36 teams, 36 teams right now. We'll be playing the UEFA Champions League. It's now an extended version. And now it's going to be the old school home and away in the group stage is no longer there. It's now going to be 8 teams. Each team will be playing 8 teams. And the 8 teams are going to be different teams. 4 home and 4 away. So the advantages of having your home and your away game coming back, it's no more there. And also, we'll be talking about the pros and cons of this Champions League. Let me bring on Sammy. Sammy,
Yeah.
what's your thoughts with the new Champions League format?
I'd like to give it a try. I feel like it will bring more competition to the table. I mean, it's obviously more games for the fans to enjoy, at the detriment of the players. Because now the total number of games that they'll be playing on in the seasons like about depending on the tournaments that they're involved in. But looking at the stats, they're averaging about 70 games in a year. Which it can be a lot.
Diminishing return.
Yeah, on the body. So I feel like in the long run, it's gonna have adverse effect on the people involved, like the humans,
the
the
players,
right? Because playing 70 games a year. Imagine you playing 70 games a year, like the longevity of your career now drops. So let's say we had midfielders like Modric. They were playing like 40 games a year. Back in their games, 45 at most, maybe 50 at most, depending, if you're in the Champions League or something, 50 games a year.
Right.
They were able to play to like 38, signing age. Modric is still playing, But now, when you look at this pressure on these new players, this generation of players, so now it's going to be long-time questions for, longevity.
Longevity,
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
I think people will adjust. I think we are just, because it's just going to be the first time. That's why we're having so many questions. That's how we having the doubt of how is it going to be. But one thing I'm so positive about is the way humans, the way we tend to adjust to something. And sooner or later, we'll not be talking about a lot of matches. The players being getting used to. They're playing a lot of matches. But Moses, as the game is now, the Champions League, I think, is now being open to the smaller clubs, the smaller teams now. So the smaller teams will also have good benefit. It's all about the money right now.
Yeah.
It's all about the money. They want it to be equality for the smaller teams so that they can generate more income. The stadium, the ticket sales, and also what they can also generate from the games. How do you see this, going with the? Do you think we are still going to be seeing the big boys winning the Champions League, or we're still going to see some,
I will start by saying that the Champions League is now more difficult than what we used to have before. So let me do a quick run. In the former formats, you can be bad in your league. You can. A typical example is Liverpool when they did their comeback in Istanbul years ago. Another typical example is the 2-time Chelsea won their Champions League. They were terrible in the league in those 2 occasions that we won it.
Right.
So this time around, these new formats, you can't be bad in your league or in the Champions League and win the Champions League, because from your first game, your strength is counted against the whole team. Yes, just as you rightly said, there are 9 teams in each group, but the truth is, each game you played, your point is calculated against every other teams.
Right.
So it means that smaller teams, with all due respect to every team in Europe, smaller teams will struggle to win this Champions League in this new format. And then a team like Arsenal that has been wanting to win the Champions League will struggle, because now there is nothing like luck. Yes, in the last format, you can be lucky. You come out of the group stage. In the round of 16, you get a smaller team.
Right.
In the quarterfinal, you're lucky. You get another smaller team. In semi-final, you get a big team and you play a defensive game, penalty shootout. You make it to the final. And the final, you struggle to win it. But in this new format, you can't be lucky from the start to the ending. Then secondly, in the last format, a team can, after 4 games, week 4. The remaining week 5, week 6, you can play your youth players. This time around, there is no room for all of that, because you are not sure where you will end, because you only have 8 teams. It's very intense. Thank you, Sam. It's very intense. So I feel for the smaller teams, because right now, money will come to play. Big teams that have reserve, that have big players, might tend to be winning in this new format. That's one of the major disadvantage of this new Champions League format.
Sammy, you want to add something?
Yeah, to add to that, like you said, it's going to be very, very intense, and every game is crucial.
Very, very.
Every game, so that either you win, you lose, you tie. At this point, you don't want to tie the game. Like tying is basically like losing in this new format. With this new format, and it's going to significantly impact your chance of qualifying for the final rounds. And then I just feel like it gives the opportunity to the smaller teams, or to actually challenge the dark horse type of situation where so situations like that I won't be surprised to see, which is definitely more fun for me, because I love intense games. Yeah, I don't want
so here's the thing. So the top 8 teams, like we said, is now in the league phase. So the top 8 team will qualify automatically for the round of 16. So while to get the rest of the 8 teams, you need to play 2 matches extra. That's the playoff for you to make the round of 16. So we can have the 16 teams. So after that, we go back to our normal traditional way. So the group, the fixture will now be drawn again. So we know. But again, you have to finish top 8 so that you can, the seeding can be favorable
to you
as well. In the round of 16. And one of the things about this Champions League again is that the group phase is always ending in December. But right now, it extends to January. So it's something new. And again, to just add to that again, do you guys know the Champions League anthem have been also changed? Not that obvious, but it's just kind of the melancholic aspect of that, and they just took it off, and it's still everything is just changing. I mean, one thing in life is one thing that is constant is change.
Change is always good for no, I feel like it's it's always good to have change. just to shaking things up a little bit. It's always needed.
All right, let's dive into the Champions League proper. We have some teams that we're expecting to do the big boys, the so-called big boys, like you rightly said, Moses, and we also have the so-called small boys. I mean, no disrespect to any of the teams, but who do you think is going to win this year's Champions League? This is a very premature prediction. But before I say who do you think is going to win, Moses, who is your favorite to lift this year's Champions League?
I'm a big fan of underdogs.
Okay.
I love underdogs. So I want to go for Leverkusen.
Well, I understand this is a new format. We might see a surprise. But the past Champions League, for the past 5-6 years, we've not been seeing underdogs. The big boys have been winning it.
Yeah.
The big boys, except the Chelsea, Manchester United, Manchester City that happened, which so we cannot still explain.
Can you dial that back? What do you mean Chelsea? Are you calling Chelsea an underdog?
No, that's not what I meant. I mean, I'm just saying.
Let's be guided.
Let's be guided. Let's know how it's
Okay.
Because comparison to City, we were the bigger team. We won.
Definitely.
We won the
Twice. You calling me underdog? Let's be guided.
Going into the final, we know what happened going into the final. It's been favored by City to win the Champions League that year, but we at the end of the day we know what happened. But this is my thing. We can't just say we're gonna see. I still feel the big boys will still be winning this thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I still feel the big boys
sure.
are still going to be winning this because they have the money, they have the players, they have the squad.
Yeah.
The small boys are still going to lack because, like you said, they'll be playing this Champions League. All the matches extends from 170 something down to 180 something now. So there's a lot of matches. So these smaller teams, so-called smaller teams, do they have the finance? Do they have these players? Do they have this?
I think, from my own perspective, I don't see any smaller team, winning
This year's
Champions
Champions
League.
League.
No, not even this year. Like Champions League ever. Like it's not for a small thing. Honestly.
Yeah.
Because the way it is structured, the
Yeah.
way it is structured, it's already structured to benefit the
Yeah,
big
the big
teams. Like
teams.
I mean the first 8, they're actually out of those top 8 teams are out of this bracket that are currently in the single league phase.
Right.
So like the structure is already structured, and one thing about we need to understand
That
about the society.
The rich will also
Exactly.
the rich will keep getting richer.
Everything, they just is to expand their own pocket. While they still secure their own future.
Yeah, exactly.
So like everything they did is already structured in such a way it benefits the big teams.
Right.
But one thing we can now see for sure, the only opportunity we get as fans of the game is we get to see upsets. In the single league, phase system whereas a small team might just come and disrupt like Arsenal's. Maybe Arsenal just needed that one game in the last game on the league phase, and then bam, the upsets like that, so that would trigger stuff like that. So that's the only excitement I can see this bringing.
Let me add to what Sammy just said. Right,
Okay.
this new Champions League, it puts everybody on their toes. Unlike the former formats where the first 2-3 games you play badly, draw one, lose one, draw another one, you have hopes. So in this new format, everybody, you know that for you to be in the first 8, you have to, on the first day,
You have to get it started.
you have to hit the ground running. So the good thing is that it will raise the standard of the Champions League. Now, from the first game, every team will be serious because they know one game can cost you in exiting. So,
This is Gold Rush Football Podcast on Gold Rush Football TV, and I still remain your favorite podcaster. I have my guys right here. I have someone making his debut. Moses, you'll be seeing him on this podcast often, and also Sammy is back on this podcast. This podcast is proudly sponsored by Better Life Stores. Better Life Stores is an online flea market where you can get your office items, you can get your kids items as well. It's also sponsored by Wale Herbs for any yama type of diseases, any
Bobo Niche.
Wale Herbs. You can check them out on Instagram. Also, Chooks the Realtor, number one finest in Realtor in Indianapolis, and also Chai Clothing. Chai Clothing is giving us is some of his products, so he's going to be sending it to us, and we'll be giving out to the fans as well. So just stay glued, and also when you listen to this, share to friends, comment, and make sure you are not that selfish when you listen to it and when you watch it as well.
You don't want more sponsors?
We want more sponsors. We want more sponsors as well. So
like,
if you like this,
comment and
send
share.
a DM to us and let's do business together. Anyways, guys, moving on. Let's go into the Champions League proper. On Tuesday we have it's gonna be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays.
Yeah.
Let me add that again.
Yeah.
The Champions League, the so-called Champions League, before we call it Tuesday and Wednesday. So anybody where they play for Thursday, we call it Thursday night football.
Thursday
Traveling
night
from
football.
Jerusalem to Bethlehem, that's Europa League. But now, if you like play Champions League, as long as you are playing on Thursday, everybody's is playing the Champions League, and so it's going to be Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursday. And one thing again about the UEFA Champions League is that there's going to be early kickoff. We'll be having games that will be starting early and our normal traditional because of the numbers of games. Yes, I think we'll be having 6 games every day. So let's start from the Tuesday game. I'll be starting with Juventus PSV. Guys, Juventus, they have a new coach, Thiago Motta. PSV, a very scoring side. Bologna, when Thiago Motta with Bologna, he did a very good job last season with this Italian side and taking the job at the old lady, What do you think is going to happen? Do you see Juventus, because Juventus will be playing 8 teams, like we rightly said, this is their first home game.
Yeah.
Do you see them doing something good in this Champions League? How far can they go? I'm talking about Juventus now.
Yeah, so I think Thiago Motta has been imprinting his values, his handprint, his footprint or blueprint or whatever you want to
or
call
any
it.
print.
Or any print, on Juventus right now. I feel like they're a very decent side. I feel like they're in that growth phase, more similar to like Chelsea. They're trying to rebuild something in between. They're trying to pull their resources together and rebuild. And they might not be able to win stuff this year.
Right.
But I'm looking at long time. For Juventus, things are shaping well for them right now. But going back to the Champions League game against PSV, I still think Juventus are strong enough to beat PSV and get a 3 points out of them. Definitely strong enough to do that.
PSV, a scoring side, a very good scoring side, Moses. And then also, I don't think it's going to be like if we're talking about maybe 10 years ago, Juventus PSV, we'll say, oh yeah, this is history. PSV was going to do something. But this PSV, they are a very scoring side. They are a good side when it comes to scoring.
Yeah. PSV have shown over the years that they are not a pushover teams when it comes to the Champions League. So I'm expecting them to give a fight. But you must also know that Thiago Motta has stabilized the Juventus team. It has made them look like a team that is growing up the trajectory. So if I'm to put my money, I'll put my money on Juventus. But as I've always said, I'm a lover of underdogs, so I'll be rooting for PSV handover.
PSV handover.
Basically, it's telling you put your money on Juventus.
All right.
It literally said it.
Okay. Sticking with you, Moses. Aston Villa, young boys. Aston Villa make a very good run last season, qualifying for the Champions League under the tutelage of Unai Emery.
Yeah.
Playing in the Champions League this season, what should we be expecting from them?
Sincerely, Unai Emery, I think he won back
Europa.
With
They call him Mr.
Sevilla.
Europa.
Yeah.
So now the person that this leaving the group stage of Champions League and playing the Europa, someone who is not going to be liking that is Unai Emery, because this man is always out of the Champions League to go and wait for whoever is coming at the Europa. And make sure. So I think he's not going to like this new format.
Yeah. So this new format now, if you exit the Champions League, there's
done for.
There's no more grace. The grace is gone.
It is over.
If you exit, you go to your league and start looking for
right.
But for me, if I was the owner of Aston Villa, my standard for Unai Emery would be a quarter-final. I don't see Aston Villa going, and I'm giving them that credit because of Unai Emery's experience. He knows what it takes to play European football. He can maneuver his way if luck is on his side, which most times, just as I said, this new format, there's nothing like luck. You have to know what you're doing. You have to play the game. You have to be up there with the big boys. So
Right.
I think for me, if they make it down to the second round or the quarterfinal, it will be a good outing for Aston Villa.
I actually think this is a good case scenario for the underdog that you were saying earlier.
Okay.
Because I can see Aston Villa being the underdog, challenging these big teams in this tournament.
But they have to, if they want to do that, they have to finish top 8 first.
Yeah,
They'll have to finish
yeah.
the top 8.
So
let's start from there.
Yeah.
You want to challenge, finish top 8 and let's go, because the big boys.
I can see Aston Villa, you know.
All right.
Because, I mean, they have the coach with the mentality.
Right.
He's already, you know, he already plays in European tournaments. Like, he already knows how it is. And now that he knows, I don't have anything to fall back on.
And they spend a lot of money during the transfer.
Apart from Chelsea,
they did a lot
apart from
of
Chelsea, them and West Ham were the other teams that actually spent a lot of money. You know,
and Brighton is the most.
sorry,
They spend
after
most
Chelsea
in
is
Europe.
Brighton.
I was surprised.
The second highest spender in the summer transfer.
I was surprised
is
with Brighton spending, because at the point I was asking them, the Caicedo money, how much is it that you guys kept buying 40 million, 30? I was like, what?
All right, guys, let's move to another game. This is AC Milan versus Liverpool at San Siro. Guys, AC Milan.
Guys, wait. When you said just want to say this. When you said AC Milan versus Liverpool,
Right.
so you know, in the back end of the studio, you know,
Right.
the engineer back there is a Liverpool fan. So, oh my days!
All right. So, guys, AC Milan versus Liverpool, San Siro. Liverpool going away to play this game. AC Milan, they've been showing this promising sign, you know, when the season starts. They are a scoring side, but you cannot rely on them. They FK many a time. But this is the Champions League and they are playing at the San Siro. They'll be playing the Liverpool side that lost at the weekend to Nottingham Forest at Anfield.
Imagine.
And this is Arne Slot's first Champions League game with Liverpool. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think Liverpool are going to bounce back and get the maximum 3 points, or it's going to be a San Siro war?
Yeah, I think we should note one thing, that this Liverpool team is probably a team that have stayed together in the last 4 years.
Okay.
They've been consistent. They don't really have in and out as much. And one good thing that Slot has done is that he has maintained that same structure.
Okay.
Although in their last game, he tried to
tweak
like what Arteta usually do. Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the
no
bed.
start waiting, you don't go finish it.
So if Slot goes back to that same structure, which
Right.
I respect him, like 3-4 weeks ago, he said something. He said he's putting out the same formation and structure of Jurgen Klopp. Not every coach will swallow their ego to say such in public. If he can maintain that same club structure, high pressing tempo game, I think he could even beat AC Milan at home. AC Milan, they are good as well. You know, they've shown. I think they won the
last game on the weekend. They won 4-0.
Yeah,
clearly.
yeah.
Is it 4-0, right?
Yeah,
4-1.
exactly.
4-1, yeah.
So they are not also a pushover. So I
At all.
think if you ask me, I'm looking at probably a draw. You know, in that game, I don't see AC Milan beating Liverpool.
Sammy.
That's actually a good game to, you know, for the fans to watch.
Right.
You know, I'll say this, you know, Liverpool, in Liverpool's case, you know, I feel like he came and he inherited, you know, a great team.
Yeah.
You know, but when you said something earlier, you said
But something is still
consistency.
missing is this Liverpool team.
Yeah.
And that is the six
And
they try to get.
Yeah.
He just it's just a makeover for the 6 right now that they are using Gravenberg.
Yeah.
He's been working for the past 2-3 matches, but it never worked yesterday.
Yeah, but I mean, the guy who just came back from international break is probably worn out. You know, you have to consider all these things. He played the games for Netherlands, you know,
Yeah.
and he actually played good in all the games.
So are you saying Liverpool to win this, right?
So no, I'm not. What Liverpool to win what?
Okay,
Hell
so
no. So yeah, you know, I'm trying to get to my point. You know,
Okay.
So when you look at when you said something earlier, you said consistency. Last year they were not consistent. If I'm going to be honest with you, Liverpool were not consistent last year.
But this is a team that fought up to the 5-6 matches to go. That is when their flaws.
Yeah,
they were very good.
Well, in Europe,
no, not in Europe.
No, I'm talking about Europe. We're talking about the Champions League.
Okay.
In Europe they were not consistent. They were losing to Atlanta. Are you kidding me? Atlanta went ahead.
They lost to when Skamaka plastered them. Skamaka plastered them at Anfield.
Looking back to yesterday's game, oh my God, I feel like Slot is going to be slaughted again. So
Rafael, the fear of Rafael.
When I'm looking at what what AC Milan has been doing, it's been crazy. Like they brought on, they already had a decent squad, and then they had the likes of Tammy Abraham. They brought in more, stars.
They have Pulisic.
Yeah, they have Pulisic, Captain America. So like they have the players to actually do this, and honestly,
they are not scared to go out.
Yeah, they're not scared to. And then
to play.
It's easy. They made their set in the games they played in Italy so far. They've been making statements.
Right.
And the statement is we don't actually depend on Rafael Leao. Like they've been taking him out of the first 11, starting in 11, and then integrating him as so depending on the availability of the players. So like it's not just a Rafael Leao team at this point. It's like.
But Sam, you agree with me that in Champions League, experience always come to play. And
AC Milan is more a Champions League experienced team than Liverpool.
No, they've been in
the tournament. They've been in the tournament more than Liverpool.
They've had a team that they've had too much ins and outgoings. Look at the Liverpool team. In the last 4 or 5 years, you can see that Liverpool is churning out almost the same team. That is why Slot is not struggling, because he has the same set of players. They know each other, and the formation never changed. So you will see that if I'm to bank my money, I would say Liverpool could even go away to get a win inside.
All right, guys, let's move on. Let's talk about Real Madrid and Stuttgart. This is the first game for Kylian Mbappe in Champions League with Real Madrid. We're putting on the jersey of Real Madrid in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Do you think Kylian Mbappe will also lift the Champions League with Real Madrid?
I don't think they'll win the Champions League with Real Madrid. Actually, my favorite to win this year's Champions League is actually Man City. I think injuries are a major concern for Real Madrid.
Right.
And it's been a major concern for them. But with the way this season started, I feel like it's going to be a long season for Real Madrid in terms of injury. Because when you have players like Jude Bellingham not getting injured, there's things to worry about. And that's what you don't want, because once these players start getting injured, before you know it, he's going to play 5 games again, and he's going to be injured again, So injury, and depending on the type of player, Jude is an elite player, like elite, in terms of every ramification, like the mental, the everything, the balling out on the field, is an elite player. But then, injuries, you never know, you never know how some players recover from injuries. It affects their gameplay. They have to pick up form all over again. It's like starting all over again. And I think that's going to be an issue for Real Madrid to worry about. But against Stuttgart, that's a easy cruise win for them.
You sure?
Good thing. Mbappe has been scoring penalties. Mbappe has been scoring penalties.
So let me add to what Sammy just said.
Right.
Sincerely, when this new Champions League format came out,
you think these people have been exposed?
No, I think the first coach that I think will do well in this new Champions League format is Pep Guardiola.
Yeah.
Because Guardiola knows how to manage marathon, and this new Champions League.
This is what Guardiola loves.
Is a master of marathon. Yeah. When you say we have a marathon,
when pressure is high,
Guardiola knows. But City is not my favorite. Trust me. And, I heard if you ask me to pick without even thinking, Madrid will always be the number one on my list, because they have everything it takes to win the Champions League, from the coach to the defense to the strike. And bringing Mbappe is like an icing on the cake. It's like making a carry and they go house. You don't understand?
They've not been gelling.
Yes, but
with
we've not seen them yet in the Champions League. We can't judge them with, just as I said, you can be playing a certain way in your league, and in Champions League you show what you are.
Right.
So I believe Liverpool against Real Madrid against Stuttgart, we show that they are the kings and the masters of the UCL.
I want to talk about Sporting Lisbon and Lille. Sporting Lisbon. We heard about Ruben Amorim, that he was going to take the job of jogging club. The one which Arne Slot took. Right now, Liverpool spoke with him.
He came to England.
We had
it was actually in contention for Chelsea.
And it was just Chelsea job as well. So this man have been doing a very good job as well. And then they'll be playing the Lille side. The Lille side that they've been also crazy. All through last season as well. It's going to be Sporting Lisbon and Lille. I think there's nothing much to say on that, right? So really the last game for Tuesday, Bayern Munich, Dynamo Zagreb. Bayern Munich have been playing this kind of game. I mean, last season we know their story. They've been
in the league.
Consistently inconsistent in the league, and also in the Champions League. It's no one expected them to get to the quarter final. Was it the quarter final which Real Madrid disgraced them? I mean, it wasn't even it was a controversial elimination for for Bayern then. Now they have a new coach in Vincent Kompany. We all know Vincent Kompany is their third choice. I mean, the 10th choice. Is it 10th or 9th choice? In fact, in the coaches which they've been looking for. It was a
miracle appointment.
They've been clamoring for coaches. They spoke with a lot of people, but no one wants to take the job. But now, Vincent Kompany, it was with Burnley last season, relegated Burnley last season. He won the championship 2 years ago. With Bayern Munich, do you think they can go far? Again, they are playing their first game with Dynamo Zagreb. I don't think there should be any cause for alarm. They are playing at the Allianz Arena.
They might walk through Zagreb because of the quality of players they have as against Zagreb. But moving forward, I think I don't see Vincent Kompany taking Bayern to Champions League glory. Because if you check his, just as we said, he relegated Burnley, he struggled and all of that. I think the Bayern Munich's job is too much of a job for him right now. Who am I to say they should not hire him? If I was the CEO or the sporting director of Bayern, I would never hire Vincent Kompany.
But they ran out of options. No one is ready to take the job.
I would rather bring a former legend of the club.
Even the former legend,
but the former legend is going to come to Bayern Munich
because
you have to think about the back, the back end.
They call them FC Hollywood. From their owners.
But Larry, remember that even Tuchel didn't want to walk away outrightly from them.
They were the one that started.
At a point, he was planning to stay back, right?
Right.
I would rather convince Tuchel, no matter the differences, or I would rather bring an Amorim.
Tuchel was ready to stay, but in between, during the season, there was this statement which the Bayern director said out about Tuchel. It was like, Tuchel is not a coach that's, when you talk down on a coach in the season, then they are yet to qualify for the round of 16. It was before the Champions League. He came out and said a statement. So definitely, they won't be working with Tuchel. They already dismissed Thomas Tuchel before the season ends. They already told him you'll not be part of our plan next season. But again, it took them to the quarter final of the Champions League. That was when they went back to talk to Thomas Tuchel. And of course, your man now, as a Chelsea fan, Tuchel get pride. Say me where you now don't wash before.
You now want to
come. I can't come. I would rather go elsewhere, and so that was what happened. So, but again, you think they're going to do well in this year's Champions League, right?
I mean, as really, like you said, they have a very good quality of players, and honestly, that's the only thing that I won't write off Dynamo Zagreb because they've been present in the Champions League regular
customer.
They've been consistent. They come. They come and they cause some issues in the group stages and stuff. But we know they never go past. But in this system where one game matters a lot,
right?
Yeah. So you never know. I won't just write them off here. But Bayern has they have the quality to to get them through there. And by the way, his curriculum vitae, his CV doesn't match the job he has
At all.
So, I see 8 here now on the 8 company.
No, it's not
about hating company.
You guys
It's not about hating company.
8 are right here.
No.
Anyways, let's talk about the game on Wednesday. I'll be picking just few games on Wednesday so we can move forward. So one of the games I'll be picking is let's talk about Borussia Dortmund and Club Brugge. This Borussia Dortmund, they are the finalists of last year's Champions League. They got to the final. They couldn't cope with the pressure. They lost to almighty Real Madrid. What more? I mean, losing to Real Madrid is not a disappointment as well. So they lost to Real Madrid.
Actually, they made more money from losing to Real Madrid.
Right. but last season, this home and away favored them a lot. You can't just escape at the yellow wall. They bury you at their stadium. But this season, with the new format, do you think they're still going to pull a surprise? Coupled with the fact that last season they had their coach.
Sancho
they had Sancho, and then Edin Terzic was their coach last season. The man has been with them for over 5-6 years. Before he stepped down. Now they have Nuru Sahin, a former player again. He's now the coach of Borussia Dortmund. Do you think they can do so well in this Champions League?
I think they might probably. I won't be surprised if they make the first 8 automatic qualification because
that's a big bet.
Yeah, I think they will because every year Borussia Dortmund is always there. They know what it takes, to win the Champions League, to be in the final, to be in the semis.
And they also have the hottest striker, last season.
Sergio Gurase!
Yeah, so I think they are not a bad team, so I expect them. I won't be surprised if they make, the automatic 8 to qualify teams.
All right. I know you'll be ready to talk about this game. It's the repeat of last year's, it's the repeat of 2 years Champions League 2022-2023 final. Manchester City Inter. Manchester City Inter. But right now, this first game is going to be at the Etihad. Do you think it's going to be a revenge for Inter or Manchester City?
Straight win to Chelsea. Put your money on it. Go and write
Chelsea.
it down.
This is Manchester City and Inter.
Oh, sorry. Straight win to Man City. Sorry. I mean, it's the same thing at this point. When I'm watching Chelsea play, it's like I'm seeing Man City play. So
because of Moresca.
It's like I'm seeing Man City play. When I'm watching Chelsea play, like I'm seeing Man City play. So at this point, it's the same thing. I always look alike, coach.
You have to stop this thing you are taking. It's good to take, but don't take too much. So Manchester City Inter.
But Man City, man, a crazy start. I feel like this is one of the best starts to the season that Pep has ever had with Man City. Because Pep is not really he likes the pressure.
Starts slow,
Yeah, it starts really, really slow. It gives his players time at the beginning of the season to kind of okay, do whatever you want right now, And then when we get to that, December, that November-December period is when the City starts to be like, but yeah, come and collect. But it's like, and the crazy thing for me is like the way he started the season, and then he still went out to the press and said, "Oh no, we have not even turned on the heat yet."
That guy is too proud now. The pride too much now.
But let's be realistic. I feel like he's telling the truth. Like I was scared after watching their games, because it's like you look at the games and you just see Alan from nowhere scoring goals that he doesn't even have business scoring. Yeah. Look at that goal that he scored yesterday to tie the game 1-1. Like, he didn't have any business to score that goal.
Let me pick it from there. When you talk about Alan, last season, based on his own standard, there's a lot of conversation that it's just, he didn't meet up with the last standard which he had 2 years ago. He's not always participating so well. When Man City play, we tend to look at, he only had 2 touches, we only had 1 touches. But come on, this guy's been getting goals for you. I don't give a F about the touches as long as this guy is giving me goals. I don't know what you guys think about that.
I disagree with those critics that said comparing him with his status.
Like this guy is not the all-round play is not there.
He's doing what a striker
I don't give a F about what.
Put the ball in the nets. That's what his job. I don't care if he has
little touches. If I have 3 goals,
in fact, one of my major criticism of Jackson this season,
because he has too many touches.
It takes too much touches. A striker, when the ball is coming, you should know what you want to do.
Because this man, this Erling Haaland, last season, it comes under a lot of criticism. Even this going to the end of last season, we had this one of the pundits say he plays like a League 2 player. Man, I don't care if you play like a League. Give me goals.
Absolutely.
And he's been delivering. Come on, we need to call this guy some slack. Maybe because of the standard he already set.
Well,
look at this season. He got three hat tricks already in the bank.
Yeah.
And it's too early.
Yeah, it's way too early.
Guys.
At this point, just give him the golden boot. No, let's be realistic. Just give it to him. Because it's like, I didn't, well, their case starts tomorrow. The hearing of the Man City case.
I don't want to go there right now. We're going to open another podcast.
It starts tomorrow, but I hope that pokes them and just
we're going to open another podcast for that. Let's talk about PSG Girona. PSG without killing Mbappe. This is their first game without killing Mbappe for 3 years, without stars.
Yeah.
I can't call Dembele and then Bracola. These guys are good, but they are just upcoming. I think Luis Enrique is now dealing with. He wants to build a team. That's what he started last season. We already know last season he's not been involving killing Mbappe in most of the games.
Yeah, he was actually started.
And he will come out he'll come out and press and tell them he's building his life.
Yeah,
because he knows
he knew Mbappe was gonna leave.
So that's what happened.
So for me, I think PSG will still they will better off Girona because for Luis Enrique has done it with Barca. He has the experience.
And Girona tired on the boss now.
And exactly.
Girona is also another case of a small team. They just had that one off season.
They just have that good season last season.
And you didn't even head well for them. Like I started seeing it
and Barcelona plastered them this weekend.
Yeah,
exactly.
So you can
four. Now for the chop.
You can tell. Yama.
All right, guys, let's go to the Thursday game. I'll be picking 3 games as well on Thursday. So the first game I'll be talking about is Feyenoord and Bayer Leverkusen. We all know the outstanding run which Bayer Leverkusen had last season under Xabi Alonso. This is a man that came into this club as just a nobody coach. He coached in Spain. He moved to Germany. When this Bayer Leverkusen was, I think, 17th at the log.
Yeah.
He took them to, the 6th position. And last season, he won the league. He won the Bundesliga and also won the league with an unbeaten record in the Bundesliga. He lost to Ademola Lookman.
Yeah, in the final.
Nigerian Ademola Lookman at the final, and then that's just the only thing we can pull back from Xabi Alonso's performance last season. But going into this Champions League, they still have the guys. They still have Boniface. They still have Xhaka. They have almost 90% of these their guys. So going to the Champions League, do you think they're going to go far, or it's just okay? We are there. But I think Alonso is going to prove a point, guys. What do you think?
I think if you ask me, I don't expect Alonso to go that far, in the Champions League. If he's able to mingle his way down to the quarterfinal, it won't be a bad season for Leverkusen. Because the previous years, you ask yourself, in the previous last 5, 6, 7 seasons, how has Leverkusen been doing in the Champions League? So asking or thinking a Leverkusen will make it down to the semi-final, is too much asked, in my opinion. If he's able to make it down to the quarterfinal or the second round, and probably come out second in their league, because I don't expect them this time around to repeat what happened last season. This because
the unbeaten record ended in their last match, against Leipzig.
Yeah. So a quarterfinal, a second round, they would have been.
So I want to say, Bayer Leverkusen this season, they will suffer. And I'm not saying suffer in such a way that they will fight for relegation. Yeah, but they will collect. Because you see, when you look at their performances last season, and then I've watched a few of their games this season,
right?
And you can just tell like that tempo is different. It's totally different from what they had last season.
Last season they were escaping with 9-minute goals.
Countless number of games.
Yeah.
In fact, they were the kings of 90 minutes.
Yeah.
They were equalizing and winning games 90 minutes.
There was a game they were playing in that Europa. I think the semi-final.
Yes.
They were losing on 80 something.
87,
but I still knew they were still gonna win that game because but now, throughout the entire last season, they never lost a game from a winning winning spot,
Position.
Right.
winning position.
Yeah.
They never lost a point, not even a point. Not to talk of a game, they never lost a point. Like one, you say, okay, it's bad, no settle with draw. Let's settle for draw. No, they never did settle for draw. They always won it. And then this season already, they already lost to Leipzig from a winning position.
So do you think they are going to go too far?
I feel like that's why I said they're gonna struggle this.
They're
this
gonna
year.
struggle.
Yeah,
All right.
So yeah.
Let's talk about Atlanta versus Arsenal. When I saw this fixture, I was joking with a friend. I said, "I'll pray Arsenal if they know. I mean, on a joking side, if they know what they want to do, they should just go and collect past question from Liverpool on how
And study hard.
because we all know the story, Liverpool story last season. It started with a quadruple.
Yeah.
So it was when Skamaka and Atlanta plastered them at Anfield. The quadruple turned to a terrible season. So Arsenal fans, I would say they should just go and collect past question on how to beat or on what to avoid against Atlanta. But I don't think, on a more serious, I don't think Atlanta is going to do Arsenal any damage because this is Arsenal and
Yeah, I think Arsenal.
in the Champions League.
I think if
But they'll be playing away.
If Arsenal wants to make
And the momentum
a
which they
statement,
had at the weekend,
Yeah.
winning away
At Tottenham.
at Tottenham Stadium,
Yeah.
they are very good to go.
If we want to make a statement,
Declan Rice will be playing this one. He's
Yeah.
not going to be sitting out.
Arteta, we want to be out there making a statement. Like,
Right.
okay, regardless of the new face of the season, I don't want to be classified as a small club. I want my name to be out there with the big clubs.
Right.
The top 8.
Right.
I want to be getting out there in that mist. I want to be hanging out in that spot, in that session. The VVIP session. That's where Arteta will be looking to make and good thing for them. Atlanta actually are missing some of their players. Like Skamaka is still out injured. They've not been gelling like they would. But then Atlanta is a team whereas they only need one.
At the weekend,
they only need one player.
The first half, they
turn
scored
up.
5 goals between Atlanta and Fiorentina.
Yeah.
The first half, crazy game.
So Atlanta is that crazy. They only need one player to actually turn up because if Skamaka turn ups, he's gonna take it. If Lookman turn ups, he's gonna take it. So it's just that you never know those one-off games
What's
where
gonna happen, right?
So let me add to what Sammy just said,
Okay.
right? Atlanta plays a 3-5-3, like a counter-attacking formation. And this Arsenal team, the defense is so good. Take it or leave it. I'm not a fan of Arteta, but if there's something Arteta has done with this Arsenal team is that they hardly concede goals. And Atlanta will wait on the counter to hurt you, which this Arsenal team is defensively good.
Right.
So I think
by the way,
it might just be an easy win.
Those are the
for
kind
Arsenal.
of games that goes down to individual mistake.
Well, since
individual
we've been
error.
reading out the Champions League draws and we're talking about the draws, I've never made a prediction, but this one I'll make my own prediction.
Okay.
Arsenal will plaster Atlanta.
I agree with
Arsenal
you.
is winning
no,
this.
My money
I
is
agree
definitely
with
on
you.
Arsenal.
Arsenal is winning this.
My money is
I agree
definitely on
with you.
Arsenal.
100%.
Arsenal
My
will
money is
beat them.
definitely on
All right, let's
Arsenal.
talk about the last game. It's not the last game, but one of the games we'll be talking about on Thursday. It's going to be Monaco and the best club in the world, FC Barcelona. FC Barcelona anyway. So Monaco.
When did Barca become the best club in the world? Please, when
Monaco,
that
Barcelona. Last season,
Unknown team at this moment.
last season, the story was,
let that go and deliver my Uber order. My Uber Eats.
last season, John Laporta make do with Xavi. He said he want a new coach. He don't want to go with Xavi. We saw some tactical errors which Xavi made in the last year's Champions League and also in the league. And it's so obvious that, Xavi as a legend, as a player, 100%. But my own personal opinion, I've been saying this everywhere to friends and anyone, that Xavi as a player, 100%, one of the best. He's a legend with Barcelona. But Xavi as a coach is not yet matured and not ready to take the job.
He's a Lampard.
We tend to see what Hansi Flick is doing right now. It's too early.
It's too early.
Way too early prediction
Yep.
to call it that he's doing
Yep.
so good. But
Yep.
again, they say Saturday we go sweet.
Now from Friday we
you
didn't
know.
know.
Tuesday,
Yeah.
they
You
know
know,
now.
so
Tuesday, they
Monaco
know
and then FC Barcelona. What do you guys think is going to happen?
now. This is a straight win for Barcelona. Hansi Flick, is a Champions League, coach. He's an elite coach. You see him, and then you see the blueprint
Right.
on the Barca team already. he's not afraid to put his kids in and let them. He gives them the freedom. Look at Lamine Yamal. He just let him loose, like go
your
wild.
thing.
And then they have Dani Olmo. Dani Olmo is also an excellent, fantastic footballer. Like it's been a while since I've seen a player like that, and seeing him get that opportunity, because Daniel has tried with Leipzig, and I feel like it's time he actually won something for himself, and I feel like they actually have Barcelona have a good team and a good coach, a fantastic coach, and he actually won the coach of the month.
See,
in La Liga
on a be wetin make I call am fans on a mouth there. Now God go forgive all of you. Before season starts, fans all over the world, 80%, Barcelona will suffer for another 600 years. Barcelona will do this over 800 years. Barcelona will suffer over 800 years.
Let me
4 matches to go.
I don't say that
you
one.
guys are now using
Larry,
Almiron.
no,
I'm not deceived.
let me tell you my view about this Barcelona team.
Sammy, you cannot deceive
I think
me.
it is hard for us to tell what we'll get from this Barcelona
Because I think they
team.
will struggle in the long run
They
because
will.
of the
That's what I wanted to say. They
of the
will.
team and on the players.
They
Injuries
struggle.
will come.
They struggle.
And these guys
They
are
struggle
playing. They are
to
the
bring
younger team.
in the players that they wanted.
Right.
We all know the story of
Nico.
Nico Williams. Yes, Yami Lawa will always be there, but one player cannot make a whole team. Olmo is a good 8 any day, anytime.
Because injuries
Flick
will
has
come
the
up.
experience, but the truth is, on the long run, I don't see this. I used to call them an unrecognized backer, because if you compare it with what we know Baka, what they used to be,
my God.
the name of Baka Monaco already, it's
Yeah,
on my ticket, on my betting
yeah,
ticket.
it's straight win.
It's a straight win.
Straight
But now
win.
I can't vouch for this Baka team.
All right, guys.
I mean,
Enough of.
one thing, I think it has to go with the young talents.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with
Yeah.
Chelsea.
Yes.
Consistency.
For these young talents,
Yeah,
if you
consistency.
start running a car, the car without this thing, the car will tire sometimes.
Yeah.
Because we saw what happened with Girona last season. Girona was firing in all fronts, and at the
run
point
out
they
of
started,
steam.
but I think with Hansi Flick, there might be guidance. I mean, the expectation for Barcelona fan, I mean, it's not to win the league and it's not to win the Champions League going into this season. But again, with what Barcelona fans are seeing all over the world, the hope is coming back.
Yeah.
The belief is coming back. They want to believe in the coach and believe in the team, and let's see how that pans out. Enough of Champions League. This is Gold Rush Report podcast on Gold Rush Report TV, and I have my guys right here, and we've been talking about the game. Don't forget to subscribe and also share with friends when you watch this podcast. Guys, I have a Chelsea fan, like we've been saying. These guys right here, they are Chelsea fans, so there's no way we want to talk about anything on this podcast. We have to give them that respect about talking about Chelsea, and that's how we're going to end up on this podcast today. Chelsea, you have the floor. What's going on? Where do you guys see Chelsea at the end of the season? Maresca boy. Before this podcast at the back room, we've been talking about you. Sammy was telling me Maresca boy is just like jollof rice and chicken. Now it's so sweet. Moses was telling me that Maresca boy is like salad and moi moi, amala and begiri. So sweet.
So for the
Chelsea fan volume done a high
for
these
the
days
fir-
now.
for the first-
Last season it wasn't like that.
for the
Now they
first
get the
time
energy
in
for-
my life,
Okay.
I want a coach to really, really succeed. I wish this is the first time I wish that I'm the owner of Chelsea. I will give Maresca 3 years. I don't care what the fans, how the pressure, because I don't know. I just believe in this guy. Because see, let me tell you one thing: the difference between this guy and Pochettino of last season. Pochettino of last season were playing sideways.
Yeah.
And we kept conceding goals from smaller teams, and Pochettino couldn't find. All due respect to Pochettino, I'm not trying to compare him with Maresca, but where you know a good team, Larry, a team that plays through the middle, like Ateta. Sorry, like Pep Guardiola.
I want shake when you say Ateta because I know you.
Anything that plays through the middle is a confident team that wants to break a defense line. Now, what we have in Chelsea, even if you like put 11 men behind the ball, Chelsea will find the holes around them. But last season, because we're always playing side football, Chelsea will be caught on a counter and the team scores 1 goal and defend all through. But now, this season, Maresca ball,
It's the sweet.
they go collect.
I said it earlier. I said what we played yesterday, if this was last season,
we'll lose that game. Yeah.
We already lost that game.
Yeah.
But you can tell, like, okay, no, Maresca, he knows what he's doing. You know, immediately he came into the club and said, I don't want Sterling. He's not my type of player.
Thank you.
I was like, yeah, because come on, look at it. Sterling in that kind of game yesterday. No, we will have lost that game.
With us.
Yeah, no, Sterling is not that type of player that can do what Jadon Sancho did. And by the way, thank you to all Manchester United and Eric Ten Hag for wrapping up a gift and sending it to my front door. Oof.
So you're talking about Jadon Sancho,
Oh, he's
right?
gonna
That is
cook.
a gift.
He's
Too early to call.
He's going to cook.
Hope say you no go swear for Jadon
He's
Sancho
going to
later.
cook.
We'll be here because we are on recording.
He's cooking pounded yam, in fact.
As much as we talk about the goodies about Enzo Maresca, I want us to talk about the off-field, issues going with Chelsea. We had a story that's clearly kind of bully. There's this issue going around. They want to they want to have their shares. They want to part ways. This and that. But they've come into the press and say nothing like that is going on. What do you guys make of it? Because since the years of Abramovich, Chelsea, we never had any issues of this backroom thing happening at the end of the day. But
so if you ask me, Chelsea have had one owner for over 20 or 21 years. Babalowo, I call him Babalowo.
I call him Mekudi.
Yeah.
Mekudi.
So it is always difficult when you have a consortium, Clear Lake having 62% and Todd Bowley having 12%. And then it's strange to me that when the takeover was happening, Todd Bowley was what everybody knew.
Fact.
He was the face.
It was the face of the takeover of the consortium. All of a sudden, 3-4 weeks ago, we started hearing that Edad Bali was the 62% phase of the Clear Lake and all of that. But the point I'm trying to make is this. Usually in every business organization, decision making is always easier when one person is calling the shots. And then from the rumors we are getting, we are hearing that one of them wants to maintain Abramovich kind of style of buying stars, throw stars in, give me trophies. Whereas one, which I don't want to lay claims on, wants to maintain the youthful, the youthful kind of players where they will build them up, sell them and become stars. So if you ask me, for them to be struggling to want to have a majority shareholder and the decision making shows that they really want to succeed at Chelsea. It's a positive thing. And then the best coach for us to have to handle this situation right now is Maresca, because he's saying that my job is to take decision on the field of play. Let them be doing the fighting and whatever. So it's a good thing in a way if you look at it.
Enough of Chelsea, Bowley, Eric Bailly, Maresca. Now, fans corner, guys. Let's leave pride. Let's leave banter. Honest opinion. Where do you see Chelsea finishing at the end of the season, Sammy?
That's a good question because I like our gameplay. Like now we have an identity. Everyone talks about Chelsea now, and what opponents. The first thing that comes to opponents' mind is shit. Let's low block. Let's low block. Yeah. Last season, you see Bournemouth coming at us every coming out. But look at the game against Crystal Palace, against Wolves. Like even yesterday, we created a lot of chances yesterday. Yeah. We were just unlucky not to put them in the back of the net. Like in the past, we were not that confident. We were sitting back. We were defending,
so
and then we were still confident.
Top 4,
but
the top 6.
But now, which leads me to my point. Like because we are rebuilding. We are rebuilding. This wasn't, it wasn't like Pochettino started the build. No. Pochettino was doing his village thing. But now, Maresca is rebuilding. And what we are building now may not come to effect this season. So if we finish in 6th position, but I see us in top 6 anyways. But if we finish 6th, I don't want Chelsea fans to be mad or anything because, it's our first season. Give us to next season. Next season, yes. We're taking that trophy.
So, but this season, you see Chelsea will finish in top 6.
Top 6, yeah.
Top 6 for Sammy.
I disagree with Sammy.
Okay.
If you go back to last season, the games that cost us were teams in 17, 18, 16 coming to steal points in Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
Now, we ended up 6th. if Moresca can avoid those stupid defeats of teams sitting back, counter or score one goal and go defend, we would make top 4. So I'm believing because of that.
Yeah, but this is an early prediction. You know,
Yeah.
I'm still considering a lot of factors
So
right now.
that's what I'm saying.
I'm still looking at the forms of like
the
teams
reason
like
why I'm giving, I believe that we could
Make top
possibly
4.
make 4th is because that single correction. Because all through last season, my problem with Pochettino is that he couldn't fix our defense. And trust me, this defense is more aware. I'm not saying they are better. I can say they are better, but this defense is more aware than our defense of last season.
But remember that we now there are 3 teams already in that list.
Yeah,
Out
we
of
still have
the
one
top
more
4.
spot. We still have
Man City, Arsenal,
and then
Liverpool.
let me say something
Already
about
top
Liverpool.
4.
Sammy, let me say something about Liverpool. I've always believed that every new coach in a club will struggle.
Yeah.
No matter how much and Slot wants to maintain the club structure, player, he go still collect because that experience will come to play. So it's not an automatic trade for him, 3rd spot. No. So 2 spots is still left. City, Arsenal, we are not dragging it. In England, trust me, 3rd and 4th is still vacant. Because last match is a clear indication of what I've always said about new coaches in EPL. He go still collect some akpako wey fit shake am.
You go still plaster am.
He go still plaster am. So the possibility that Moresca, because if you ask me, Moresca have more EPL experience than Slot. The only thing Slot is better than Moresca is that he met a stable, informed team.
And the
than Chelsea.
And the board, he had a very stable board, right?
He had a stable board. But aside that, if you talk about the experience, Moresca stand a chance in making the top 4.
I will wait till December.
All right.
And then we'll see.
Moses, Chelsea finishing top 4. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Gold Rose Football Podcast on Gold Rose Football TV. I still remain your favorite podcaster, Olanrewaju Abodurin. From me and my guys in the studio, we say have a lovely weekend and stay blessed.
Thanks for having
Bye.
me.
Bye.
Bye.